Ni hao. This is the third part of a day in the life of a Cambridge professor, namely Alan Macfarlane, who I am. I've already talked about preparing and working in the morning at home and then going in to give a lecture to Chinese students in Cambridge. So after the lecture, I walked back from Newnham College on the edge of Cambridge to my college, King's College, Cambridge. As I walk back, I walk from the back gate past the garden and the stone in memory of Zhu Zhimo, the famous Chinese poet. And I feel a special sense of happiness walking past them because I am known as the keeper of the Zhu Zhimo stone, because when it was offered to the college, I was the person who managed to get the offer accepted through various college committees. So the donor has made me the honorary keeper, and with my colleague Zilan, I've managed to raise the money to make a Chinese-style garden, yin-yang garden, just behind the stone, which we're hoping to extend with plants from Hainan and the area where Zhu Zhimo grew up, and the many Chinese visitors who come there enjoy that special link with China. So I walk past that and then over the Cam, look up stream to the mathematical bridge which Newton was supposed to have built, though he didn't, and then downstream to the beautiful colleges, Clare and the bridges and the willow trees that Zhu Zhimo loved so much. And then on past, on my left, the great lawn, the biggest academic lawn perhaps in the world, of King's College down to the river, very famous. Looking straight to my left is the magnificent chapel, which I'll visit later, and the big white Georgian building, the Gibbs building, where my room is. So I walk past an Antony Gormley statue and then go to the lunch, which is just a cafeteria lunch. But it is rather special because one of the real exciting features of being a member of a Cambridge Oxford College is that it is a kind of community, and part of being a community, as was its origin, which was a religious monastery, part of being a community is to eat together. So many of the teachers, who are known as fellows, will come in for lunch, and there is no division in our college between a high table where the professors eat and the ordinary tables for the students. We all eat more or less together, though there is a little bit of a division, and you can sit anywhere and you just take your chance. So on this day I come in and I sit down and I find I'm sitting next to someone who I haven't met before, and I say, hello, who are you? And they say, I'm Gabriel. And I say, well, I'm Alan. What is your connection to King's? And Gabriel says, well, I'm a visiting scholar. I did my PhD here, and I now teach in Brazil, but I love to spend every summer over here. And I say, well, what are you working on? And they say, well, Alan Turing. I wrote a book on the Turing test, and I'm hoping to write some kind of biography of Alan Turing. So we then get into a conversation about Turing, whose room is by the river, by the bridge that I crossed over when I came to lunch. And so he tells me that he is an expert in computing science and also history and philosophy of science. And we get into an animated conversation for half an hour or so. And I say, well, this is my email. Why don't we have a really longer conversation? And so I've made a new friend, and later we'll meet, and later hopefully we might even collaborate, because I'm interested in touring and his life as his social side of his life as a boarding school pupil, and then coming to King's and being friends with many of the Bloomsbury group. So we eat in the magnificent great hall. It is a mock Gothic. It's not original, but it's over 200 years old, and it's got paintings of all the alumni, like John Maynard Keynes and Lowes Dickinson, who invited Shujamau over, and the first British Prime Minister, and many other interesting people, one or two kings and queens. And so there's a special sense of feeling of privilege eating there, and then afterwards we go to the club-like common room, or in Cambridge it's called the combination room, where you combine before a meal, and we might have a cup of coffee and look at a newspaper, though I don't tend to do that. After lunch, I'm being visited by a former student of mine, and she's come from America. I taught her for a PhD 25 years ago, and that's one of the great joys of being an older professor at Cambridge. Your students tend to keep in touch. They love to come back to Cambridge. They come and see you, and as Confucius said, there's no greater pleasure in life really than being visited by an old friend who's come from a far away place. And so within a few minutes we're back to where we were 25 years ago, talking about what we were working on together, people we knew at that time, and I'm catching up on their life and family and everything else. And so it's a real burst of warmth with such a person. And then I say to them, we've had a great talk, how about having a walk around the college? So we then go for a walk. We go to the beautiful library, walk up and down the library and look at the books they used to work with. We go round the lawns and to the stone that I mentioned, and then we go into the King's College Chapel, which is one of the wonders of the world. It's famous for various things. The ceiling, the fan-vaulted ceiling, is the finest example of that kind of architecture in the world. It's famous for its choir, which is broadcast all over the world. King's College Choir, boys' choir, at Christmas, reaches millions and millions of people. Beautiful late medieval, early modern windows, glass-stained windows, and a beautiful screen or wooden partition between the two parts of the church, which has various inscriptions, including one, or carvings, including one which is HRA, Henry Rex, King Henry, and Anne Boleyn, which was the origins of the English Reformation at that particular place and moment. So we walk up and down and look at the Rubens painting at the far end, and reunite after 25 years and come back. So this is a real pleasure, privilege to belong to something like a college, because in most jobs you leave your workplace and then that's it. The game is over. You can't join the game again. But the colleges are communities. When you join a college, as I did over 53 years ago, I've remained in that college and will remain until I die, and I have the right to be buried under the stones of this magnificent chapel. So that's another part of my day, taking me through to the middle of the afternoon.